Okay, I'm going to be switching back and forth between the original site and the clone site. So here I'm going to show you the differences between the header where the navigation is. As you can see in the screenshot, the on the original site, it's spread out much more. The logo is all the way to the left, the button book of consultation is all the way to the right, and it spreads out. Also, you can see the carrots, the down and up arrow carrots, has color before the hover, but on the clone site it's black. You're also going to notice as you hover, I'll actually play the video. So I'm going to show the differences. So as you hover, you see that the navigation is white, the flyout navigation is white, but on the clone site, the flyout navigation is black. What you also notice is as you hover, those arrows interact, they go up and down. Also, the email us icon has some color. It's a different icon, and it's an envelope, and it has color on the original, but it's black on the clone site. And also the button book a consultation. It's much more rounded, with rounded corners. It's smoother, but on the clone site, it's more boxy. So let's scroll down here. I'm going to show that on the clone site, the text is there's quite a few paragraph text. There's quite a few paragraphs that are bolded on the clone site, but not on the original, and that's on several pages. So look out for that globally. You can fix that globally. I'm on the home page now. I'll show you. There you go. Also, as we scroll down to the first set of cards, you'll notice that on the original site, the cards line up. They line up, and in terms of the alignment, vertical alignment, they're all equally sized. Also, you'll notice that the paragraph text here isn't bold, but on the clone site, it doesn't line up, and the text is bold. The other thing you'll notice globally on the site, the spacing on the side of the content, left and right, is different. Between the clone and the original site. On the original site, a lot of the times the content is spread out much more, but sometimes it narrows. I'd like to match that across the whole site globally. When it's spread out and when it narrows, sometimes the cards are large, but on the clone site, the cards and images seem to be a bit smaller. You'll see that as we go through. I'm showing you, okay, the bolded text here and the card alignment. Okay, down to the next area. The bolded text shows up again on the clone site when it's not on the original. Again with the bolded text showing up, not on the original. It looks better when it's not bolded, that paragraph, those paragraphs. Okay, also here is a difference. The cards are larger on, if you do this yourself, switch back and forth. Actually, on each page, that's the best way to see the differences I'm talking about. Even if I don't point them out here, you'll see back and forth, you'll see the differences. There's some things are small, but they add a nice touch to the site and make it nice and clean. So that's what I'm looking for. Here, you'll notice that on the clone site, the whole card is a link with the arrow that you can click on to go to the page, but on the original site, but on the clone site, that's kind of not the same. And also on the clone site, the cards seem much smaller, and this area seems to be much narrower on the clone site when it's much more, it's larger and more prominent on the original site. You can see as I switch back and forth, you see, okay, the arrows weren't, I don't know why the arrows weren't there. I'll show that later. So the bolded text again on the clone site, but not on the original. And see how that image, see how the image is larger on the original, but smaller? Like that's across the whole site. The images seem to be a bit smaller all across the site. So if we can kind of match the image sizing and spacing and the left and right spacing, kind of match it all across the board. You see how it's different between the two sites. Again, with the bolded text differences, the bolded paragraph text differences. Also here, you'll notice as I switch back and forth, on the original site, you got the map symbol, which signifies that it's a location. Then you have each location being linked. Now on the original site, there's each of these, there's a location page for each of these locations, but on the clone site, those don't exist. They seem to not exist at all. I need the location pages because I will be featuring several locations for my site as well. Some not Texas, but I'll be switching this content out later, but I would like those pages to exist so I can easily put my location content onto it. So I need these location pages so that I can have my own locations. So same thing, match what you see here, icons and links. Also bolded paragraph text differences. You see the spacing is different. Can we match the spacing as you switch between these two sites? See how it looks cleaner when it has more space. Also here we see a difference. This is globally, you know, with this area here, it's kind of taller, and the spacing seems a bit inconsistent between the original. Look how narrow, it's shorter in the original, and I don't know, it looks cleaner in the original. When we get to the footer, I actually like that there's a difference in the footer. There's one difference that I like, that the background isn't like this. I don't really like this for the background. I like how you did it. Let me back up. So I like how you did it, where it's just this background and it goes all the way across. But there are some differences that need to be adjusted, that need to be brought into line with the original. If we can, basically, you'll see that the placement of the footer nav links is inconsistent. See how the spacing looks a bit different. Also, this isn't clickable on the clone site, and the social media links, you'll see that as you hover, it changes color and it actually links to the social media. If we can do that as well. Also, these links, again, they need to go to the location page. Right now, they go to the original site. The links on the clone site go back to the original. So they need to actually go to the location pages for the clone site. I'll show you. I actually end up clicking on the social media links on the original just to show you that you can hover and click, but on the clone site you can't. There, it doesn't work. So see the differences? It looks cleaner on the original site. If we can bring that look and feel to the links and the placement of the columns, you know, to the clone site, that would be great. Just clean it up, make it look nice. I'm showing you the location pages, how they don't really exist on the clone site. They link back to the original. And there's missing location names too. On the original there were more, on the clone it's missing. Right, so let's go to the About Us page. Oh, and the About Us page in the footer links to the contact page instead of the About Us page, so that should be fixed. Okay, on the About Us, comparing the About Us page, you see again the header is inconsistent between the two sites as you switch back and forth. You can see as we switch back and forth, it spreads out on the original, but it's narrower on the, oh, here we go. Here's the issue. The content is out of place here on the clone site. So, yep, narrow versus wide. And here's where the content is out of place. It breaks out of the margin altogether on the clone site, but it's not like that on the original. The footer needs to be, the header and the footer needs to be fixed globally. So I'm not going to mention the header and footer on every page, but it needs to be fixed globally. The fixes that I mentioned earlier. So the contact page, there's a difference in, on the original site, it's a radio button. It's radio buttons, one option only, but on the clone site, it's check boxes. And alignment is different. It's 2 columns of radio buttons. On here, it's 1 column of check boxes. If we can make it match the way it works and the look and feel, that'd be great. Also the buttons. Also the buttons are different. Look at the buttons. It says the difference in what it says is different in the clone site. Says something different than see send message versus submit. So we need to make that match. Make sure the hover color is the same. I'm not sure if it is. I'm not going back. Okay, we're on the industries page. Again, notice as you switch back and forth, the difference is if we could bring those into alignment, even the cards and the links, how the whole card links out with the arrow, like the whole card is linkable. And it has an arrow to tell the user, hey, this is a link, you can click on it. Let's make that match. And the cards are larger and they take up more of the page width, slightly more. That's a global thing again. Sometimes it's narrow, sometimes it's wide, but if we can make it match across the board. Okay, here we go. In this area, they actually made it more narrow to make the look and feel much cleaner. Can we make it match as well here? See how it's spread out? Doesn't look as good, and the text is bold for the subheader or the paragraph text. Can we make it match the original? See how it looks cleaner? If we could do that, that'd be great. Okay, going to the locations page. On the locations page, you can see that it links out to the location. Has the icon, actually has a different icon. If we can make it the map icon, so that it tells the users the location, that'd be great, and link to each location. On the original site, it's broken, but on a clone site, these links should work, and go to the location page. So we're on the S Corp versus LLC page. I'm doing the back and forth comparison. You can see it changes slightly, which isn't bad, but if across the site, the left and right spacing should be consistent, and the sizing of the images and the boxes, like the cards. Also, you can see here, because of the way the text lays out, the S, it's cut off from the S Corp, so it doesn't really flow right, as on the original it does, S Corp. If we can fix that, that'd be great. If we could bring the same images from the original site to this spot, that'd be great. They look better. Also, this area, the image doesn't come to the edge like it does on the original, and there's a missing text box here. Yeah, that's missing. See how the image comes to the edge, and the text is bolder in this area. The text is bolder, but it's bolder on the original, but on the clone site, it's not bold. You'll see as I switch back and forth the differences. See, it doesn't come to the edge. The text is missing, and it's not. The text here is missing to tell you what this is, and this text isn't bolded. There's a difference in all of this text. See how it's not bolded, but when you switch to the original, it is bolded. All of this is bolded. This is bolded. Now we're off to the reviews. You can see, even though there's no reviews, you can see there's bolded text, but not on the original, but it is on the clone. And as you switch back and forth on the locations page, see how it looks cleaner on the original? And here's the icons that we need to swap out for the location icons. But see how when I switch back and forth, when I go to the original, it's spread out, it looks cleaner. That's a global thing, but it stands out on this page especially. That space does a nice job of making it look cleaner. So if we can match that, that'd be great. Blog page, I know there's no blogs, but the bolded text also, not on the original, but it's on the clone. Services, okay, services page. Notice the differences as we switch back and forth. Let's bring it in line with the original. Bolded text is one thing. Also, the size of the cards, how much how much space it takes out width-wise, like, and also the cards and how the whole thing is clickable. This is a global thing. Every time we see services we offer, this is global. And are we copying the content in several places, or is this a block that's being used in several places? I don't know. I didn't look in the back end. I'm just wondering. But the cards, this is global. Anytime we see this area, same thing. These fixes need to be applied to all of the areas where this appears. Card is clickable. Arrow is there to let you know it's clickable, and the whole thing is clickable. That's all the pages where this appears. Same as we scroll down, same thing here, make it consistent. Currently it's not consistent, especially with the bolded paragraph text. Okay, going to the bookkeeping services, you can see as we switch back and forth, it changes with positioning and spacing and how clean it looks. Let's make it consistent. Same here. Oh, there's actually a missing subheader. This is missing on the clone site. Let's make it consistent between the clone and the original. Image, see how when I go back and forth, the image size is changing? Let's make image sizing and element sizing consistent. Font, image, and element sizing consistent across the site, all the pages. Also, you'll notice I'm showing that I'm looking at the H1s for search purposes. I need all of the H1s and H2s to match the original site. So the clone site, so on the original site, whatever's an H1, whatever's an H2, it needs to be an H1 and an H2 on a clone site. Also, the title tags and the description tags, they need to be populated with the same information, same titles, same descriptions. I'm going to show you some more of that at the end. H1. So yeah, it's important for the H1s and the H2s to match for search purposes. I'm going to be focusing on local SEO. That's why I need the location pages as well, so I can be found by the search engine. Okay, again, as you switch back and forth, let's make things look consistent, spacing and size-wise. Again, same. See how it changes? It's not consistent. Let's make it consistent. This is global, so not just here. Let's do this globally. Consistent sizing and spacing. Oh, actually here it's important. This is an important area. It's not just about having content on the page. This is for SEO purposes, and I want to make it consistent look and feel wise as well, but the links need to be there. They need to, the same links that the original site has, I need to have those links, and is more for the search engines than the actual site visitor, but it needs to still look good. But let's make the look and feel consistent between the two. You see how it's a little bit narrow. I guess it's de-emphasizing it for the content editor since it's more for the search engines, but it still needs to look okay. See how we have all these links and some of them are bold. Let's just match everything. There's a strategy that was used to build this site. I want to leverage as much as possible to benefit from it. So let's do that. And this is a global thing. On all of the services pages, let's kind of make it match the original site for each service. Also, the image, it's square, no rounded corners on the clone, but on the original rounded corners. Sizing again, let's match the image positioning, sizing, and spacing between elements globally. Same with this is a global thing. We already spoke about the services and how it should match. See how it's changing as I go back and forth? It shouldn't. Same thing. See how it's changing? It shouldn't really change. Same here. This is global. Need to be links. Need to be the location icons for the location pages. All right. All of the service pages have similar feedback, especially at the bottom where things repeat. Hopefully we're using blocks and we're not duplicating the content. That content, those blocks are just placed on those pages. Let me know how that's built. I want to know. Make it consistent. Same thing, make it consistent for all the service pages. Make it spacing and element placement consistent. H1s matter, H2s matter across the site. H1s, H2s, meta descriptions, meta titles, that all matters. Just going back and forth, seeing the differences. Let's make it match. See how the image sizing changes. See how I'm going back and forth between the two? Can you do this for mobile as well? Make sure mobile matches as well. Between the original and the clone site, when you go back and forth between the two mobile versions, please make it match. Same thing. This is a global thing. I talked about this SEO area before. Let's fix it up, make it match. Same. I talked about this area already. It appears on multiple sites. This whole section down here. Okay, let's see what's going on here. Same, this whole area appears on all of the service pages, so let's just make it consistent. Advanced financial reporting. Just going back and forth, seeing the differences. If you could do that and just make it consistent, that'd be great. Same stuff. Same, already talked about that. Already talked about that. Already talked about this area, how it appears on all sites, should be consistent. Tax reduction planning, same things. Consistency is key. Let's leverage as much of their design as possible. That's the goal here. Consistency. I'm not mentioning it here, but you can see the differences. Let's just address it. Because I already said it on other pages, let's just make it consistent. You can see the change. Let's make it consistent. Already talked about this area. Already talked about that area. Already talked about that area. Yep, you can see a difference there. If we make it consistent, that'd be great. Services, okay. You see the change, how it's changing. Let's make it consistent. You see the differences. Same thing. Anytime you see a difference, let's just address that. Okay, you see how that flows differently as I switch back and forth. There's a difference in flow. Let's make it look like the original. It continues throughout all of the service pages. No need to show you each one, but if you could address each service page and make it consistent across between the original and the clone site, make the spacing, image sizing, placement, flow of content consistent between the two sites on all of the pages. I'm just skipping over some of the service pages, but they still need a global fixing. Okay, now I'm gonna get to some of the SEO, actually some of the links, and how it's different. So I'm using Screaming Frog, which is free for up to 500 pages, which is perfect because these sites are less than 500 pages. As you can see, this is the original site and the status is 200, okay, for the original, but on the clone site, it's not like that. You're going to see that in a second. I'm showing you the location pages need to be clickable as well. Also, here's where I'm showing you the title tags are all populated for the original site. The description tags are populated. There's the H1s, the first H1, and then the second H1. They're populated, but they're not like this on the clone site. The first H2 populated, the second H2 populated. I need the meta information to match on the clone site. As you can see, there's duplicates. One of the page is regular. So about us, there's two about us, there's two of each page, but here's an example about us page. One is okay, and one is a 301 redirect. So if we can get rid of, if we could just have the page without this second duplicate redirect page, that'd be great. As you can see, the about, let's see, so the about, let's make sure these titles match. Looks like it has a site name. I guess that makes sense. Let me see what was in the other one. Nice, I have it here. Okay, so about, all right, blog. You can see there's a difference. About financial homepage, contact us. Let's make I see the site name right here, that makes sense, but then there's extra information on the side. If we need to treat this as a second project, that's fine too. We maybe do a follow-up project to fix this stuff up, but please make the H1s, H2s match, and if it's not too much trouble, the descriptions. But if the titles need to be fixed later, okay, whatever you can do, let's do it here.